Hello everybody, Sifd here again, and today I decided to do something different in Rogue Legacy 2. So I decided to fight every single estuary in its Prime version and also read the lore behind them. After you beat the fight against the Prime version of them, you get a little story bit. I will be doing these fights with the Enkindled Gauntlet, boxer. Because I think it's like the most powerful boss killer, and I also go with the Wind Wall as this is also the most powerful against bosses. So let's get to it right away. Let's get to it right away and see how fast we can beat like Estuary Lamech. Now I'm not over leveled or anything, like it takes me about 2 to 3 shots to kill normal opponents. So don't think that we're like anything crazy here. We just do like a bunch of damage because, as I said, a kindled one is really insane. Here he does shadows and also flames. Here he leaves electricity on the ground. Very simple stuff in general. Daggers, not really simple stuff. Daggers is the one thing that's most likely gonna get me the most times. A triple flame is gonna happen over there. Never stay close to that. Once again, this you just block it. You don't even care. Just throw a block on it and that's that. But here you should really build up mana because you also should throw a block to those and then continue with the damage. This is the worst attack for this specific build. Otherwise, it's one of the better ones. Once again, we block and that's this fight. Easily done, very quick done. In general, like Lamech over here is not really that hard of an opponent, at least in my opinion. Now, a few people say that it is a bit a hard fight, but I don't know, man. You get used to them. Like all of these fights, you get used to all of those fights. So yeah, I will repeat. It's not that I'm overbuild or anything. You will see later that our DPS is gonna slowly start to dwindle. And as I said, it takes me like 2 or 3 hits to kill a normal opponent. So now let's read the lore. A torn banner of a foreign kingdom flutters in the wind, buried amongst the corpses and the crows. In the distance, Lamech stands tall on a mountain of bodies, a monument to his success. Soldiers, tattered and wounded, raise their blades to the sky as they shout his name across the valley. Lamech, Lamech, Lamech. I always knew. I ignored the reports and made false truths in my heat. I fooled myself into believing the rebellion would be smaller than it really was. I could have quashed the rebels in their homes, destroyed whatever the vestige of hope they had. But I didn't. This war never needed to happen. I kept this knowledge to myself, knowing the cost. In truth, I wanted to die gloriously, one final hurrah to end my chapter. I wanted to be free of this eternal prison, guarding a tree that will never sprout. But there was no death for me, and no glory. And now, there is no one left to fight. The doors to Lamech's throne burst open as a wave of rebels surge into the room. For every one that falls to his blade, another 2 replace them. The fighting lasts for hours and then for days. Eventually, there are no more foes to fight, and Lamech stands tall on a pile of bodies. The room is silent. Is that it? I guess that's it. Yep, I guess that's it for Lamech. Anyone, thanks for putting Israel through Lamech to the rest. Yeah, we have that. Okay, so I'm gonna like continue my run on my own, and then when I go to the next boss fight, I'm gonna resume the video there. Okay, and here we have arrived to the Skeleton Crew. By the way, throughout the runs, I will be picking up relics. You can see them here at the bottom, although most of the time they're not really that relevant, but sometimes they are. You know, they increase damage, they give me a bit of shielding. Also, there is a good chance that I will die between these runs, because this build is not really good against, you know, normal opponents. It's only actually good against, you know, bosses. So let's get to it. Let's get the skeleton boss fight done. Here we go on the ship. Yeah. Let's go first mate Bria. So we're gonna run away and just throw bombs. I mean, not that away. Just spawn bombs, as always. As you see, we do a lot of damage. Yep, he's gonna go down very quickly. This is not that much of a hard fight, by the way. In general, most of these fights are not really I guess most of them are actually pretty decently hard. But this specific one isn't hard because the only thing you're actually fighting is the masses of opponents that are, you know, that exist. Run it back, and here are the quote-unquote, we got hit, the quote-unquote masses of opponents, as I said. I didn't say I'm gonna perfect them, I said I'm gonna destroy them, and we got hit by our own shot here. It is okay though, and that guy's does too. And now, when they die, they spawn more of these guys. Like, you just get a couple of smaller skeletons that just try to hit you, but in general, not really hard fight, specifically with this weapon. Just stay afar, block everything. When balls from, you know, when explosions drop from above you, just avoid them. And in general, you should be really nice. If you have the Rekindled Gauntlet, it should be an easy win. A very easy win. Just stay afar, or you could even go to the left side because it has a bit of elevation. There are also always 2 healing spots to get, so in general, this is one of the easier Prime fights. You even have more room than you have in the normal fight. So let's... Yeah, I know, Jonah, I know you want to tell us something, but let's go to the lore right away. Slowly, a Mehujael memory, slowly lifted into position by massive cranes and pulleys, the Armada flagship vessel, the Preserver of Life, floats precariously above a massive black pit. Atop the quarterdeck, Estuary Mehujael looks proudly upon his crew as they prepare the ship for its descent into the Stygian waters. Above the masts, white stone chains groan as they slowly begin to lower the ship. The noise is deafening, and the reverberations threaten to tear the ship in half, but Mehujael's crew remains stoic. He promised the ship would hold, and his words are their trust. Next, in the dark, the once pristine deck of the Preserver of Life are awash in the black and blood of monstrous void beasts. Their numbers seem endless as more and more of them emerge from the Stygian waters. Visible only through the flash of cannon fire, a giant tentacle from the Stygian kraken crashes down into the wooden deck, sending Mehujael and his crewmen flying through the air. For a moment he is weightless, then he feels the icy sting of the Stygian waters. I'm sure I'm butchering the names. Deadly to the touch, the Stygian waters threaten to drag him further under as every drop pulls on his soul. In the distance, First Mate Byreath barks orders at his men, and ropes are hurled into the waters in an effort to save those flung overboard. Struggling against the waves and flotsam, Mehujael grasps one of the ropes and then back at his flailing men. Then looks back. Okay, looks back. He knows the ropes won't help. The sailors are too far out exactly, and too weak from their touch of the Stygian waters to save themselves. One after another, the silhouettes of his men sink under the waves. With one last prayer spoken before taking a breath, Mehujael releases his rope and dives into the brackish waters to save those he can. What a hero. The sun from the tower shines brightly upon the shipyard and the Kerguelen plateau as the Preserver of Life is slowly dismantled. It has been many years since the Void Beast has emerged from the waters, and the material within these ships are better used elsewhere. Under Naamah's guidance, the ship's hull and nails will build new homes and its sails new clothing. In the office above, Estuary Mehujael accepts the offer to take ownerships of the Nibiru deep mines. Though hardly a glamorous position, it was the only way to keep his crew together. After his proposal is approved, he offers his crew the choice to stay above and continue their lives in the sun, but none will abandon their captain. As the centuries pass, the Nibiru deep mines transform into their own bustling world, separated from the other estuaries, and new underground culture flourishes, a society built upon equality and respect. Mehujael, the best estuary right now, shouting and commotion fill the tunnel as a small stream of Stygian water trickles down the passageways, whatever. Mehujael barely has time to think before the trickle becomes a torrent. He quickly guides his people towards the Atlantis Spire, a massive ventilation shaft that travels to the top of the mine. The other exits are flooded. There is no other way to escape. The vent is narrow and dark as night, but his people have no recourse but to scale its wall. Those that lose their strength fall to the risen waters. Mehujael carries as many exhausted men as he can on his back, but not everyone can be saved. As many as he can, like more than 2. He's like an insane powerful guy. After climbing for an eternity, he finally breaches the surface. Half a dozen people cling to his back, okay, and he barely manages to pull himself up before giving into exhaustion. A storm rages on the surface, obscuring his vision. The wind breaks just long enough to see that Nibiru Deep is no more. Dang it. The water has risen to such a level that the land surrounding the mine is now completely flooded. Only the very tip of the Atlantis vent is still visible. With little strength remaining and concern for what's to come, Mehujael produces a knife. Take from me a piece of my flesh, become my child, and survive this night. The memory is split and largely incoherent. 1,000 different images and emotions assault your mind. You see people swimming across the Stygian waters towards the glowing light of the sun tower. You see the relief in their eye for having made the journey, but feel an undercurrent of fear. Becoming an estuary of an estuary is sacrilege, and there will be repercussions. An unspoken pact of silence is the common thread uniting 100 different voices spread across 100 different lives. The memories are a jumble as their hosts wander aimlessly, but eventually they all coalesce, whatever, upon Axis Mundi. Coalescence. The children of Mehujael are together once more, hiding in the shadows, recesses of buildings populating the bridge. The unnerving silence is broken by the sound of a single horn. Its low groan emanates from Citadel Agatha. With a single nod, the children of Mehujael gather their weapons, they emerge from the shadows and begin their assault on the Citadel. Okay, that is Mehujael's story. Let's also read, yeah, in Past Prime it would never a chance against those beasts. Yeah, that's why it's not only one, and it's like 5 or 6, you know, you find like the 2-3 skeletons, and then you fight even more skeletons after those skeletons, so that's why that's happening. Anyway, time to go to next turn, and the next one. And we have arrived at our third boss fight, so let's get to it. Your offering is accepted, let's go in there. This is one of the easier ones too, because you just have to stay away. I mean, no, this is not actually that easy, because although you have to stay away, she also has like traps on the ground and also does a few weird attacks. And just like that, my jumps run out and I get hit, you know. And we get hit again. Doesn't matter, I just need to find like a footing. If I find a footing, we just begin the smacks. Yep, she's doing her massive... As you see, she's doing a bunch of different things that are just multiplied of what she normally does, right? So, for example, she does the flames, and then she also throws one of those to you. She does this thing, and it has even more projectiles, you know, coming towards you. In general, it's pretty much the same fight, just more. Oh, here, we are pretty much stuck in there. There was no way to go away, other than the fact that I could have thrown the wind blade that I have. But I didn't. By the way, I have like 5 or 6 jumps, just so you guys know. Like, I have a bunch of jumps, and that's very normal, in case you don't know. In general, in this high level of play, you should have a bunch of jumps in the first place. Yeah, but she come a bit too close to us. Like, when I say on this level of play, I mean the New Game Plus mode. I mean, on this level of New Game Plus, you have like a bunch of jumps, a bunch of dashes, a bunch of everything pretty much. And she's toast. Because Colourblind Archer is pretty much the most busted weapon, I guess, boss slayer here. I'm about to die. And we're still alive. Very much survived. Because, yeah, because that's how this game is played in general. Like, you have meta progression, there is never a level that you can, you know, reliably either, you know, kill very slowly or not die to. Like, if I went to New Game Plus 8, I would not be doing damage, I would have died in 2 hits. If I went to do New Game Plus 6, I would have 2-shot her, so this is like the best we can do. For showcasing the boss at least, you know, for showcasing the boss. So Naamah pretty much the same again and again, like it's just literally the same fight, just with more projectiles, more things coming towards you, so you should always just, you know, try to do the spin attacks and also throw, you know, the wind blade out. Anyway, let's read the lore here. Autumn leaves dance in the sky as a young Naamah opens her eyes. She wipes the metallic taste of her blood from her mouth. The ambush has gone terribly wrong. She glanced about and finds her older sister Miriam lying unconsciously nearby, her leg clearly broken. As she reaches out to her ailing sibling, she suddenly feels a cold metal clamp down around her throat. She grasps at the gauntlet as estuary Lamech effortlessly lifts her off the ground to face him. Lamech is the evil guy here. With a desperate cry, Naamah swings her sickle, only to feel it shatter against his chest plate, the farmer's blade useless against the unyielding royal armor. Even as she struggles to breathe, she thinks about how he had ransacked their farm, destroyed their home, and ruined their lives. She and her sister had spent their days seeking vengeance, but their hatred means nothing to him. She stares deep into his eyes, but sees only apathy. A ghostly blue sword materializes in his free hand and she braces herself for the end. Lamech, stop! A voice rings out from behind her, and the grip on her neck suddenly releases. Devoid of strength, she crumbles backwards into the dirt. She feels the sting of a rock strike the back of her head. Then darkness envelops her. So she got stunned into sleep. Naamah awakens with throbbing headaches and finds herself lying on a cot inside a giant makeshift tent. Around her lies dozens of wounded soldiers, attended by a handful of doctors and nurses. She turns to see Miriam sleeping on a cot nearby, her leg wrapped in a makeshift splint. The throbbing in her head subsides. You're finally awake. I see they're taking good care of you and your sister. The voice was the same one she heard earlier. It comes from a man in a gold-laced cloak, emblazoned with a white and black tree, the sigil of the invading army. He grabs an empty chair and neatly places it by her bedside before settling down. My name is Enoch, and I was hoping you could tell me about this. It's a Chronomicon. He pauses and finishes an apple out of his pocket. An apple she had grown. Enoch, man. Nothing grows where armies have fought. The corpses stain the soil, and the metals poison the water. To grow food on that kind of land takes a talent. To grow the amount you have takes a miracle. His compliment sparks a sense of satisfaction she can't repress, and she hates herself for it. He waves a hand gesture towards the other soldiers in the ward. The war may claim the lives of thousands of soldiers, but starvation will claim the lives of millions of innocents. I understand your distaste for politics, but the reality is people starve, kings don't. So will you help us help the people? He hesitates before tossing the apple back to her. He smiles when she catches it. Didn't he bite the apple? Did he throw her a bitten apple, or did I not read that correctly? Naamah stands up to stretch and looks over her reclaimed land with pride. The topsoils, once scorched and poisoned from countless battles, is now a variant green. Over the years, people have begun calling her Naamah of the Harvest, she who brings feast from famine. She and her growing tenue have worked carelessly following the wake of the king's armies. They retilled, man, these words, the land, buried the death, and cared for survivors from both sides of the battlefield. Whenever she went, the fight stops, wherever. The king's armies conquered lands, but it was Naamah's army that united them. Naamah, best character right now. Trumpets blare and streamers, okay, color the skies as a procession of bards and jugglers parade through the streets. What is even happening? At the center of all this revelry is a giant raised palanquin brought with wines and flowers, carried by 7 men and 7 women. It gives every onlooker a clear view of Estuary Naamah setting up its days. Man, I really feel like I'm reading in school or something. Tonight's ceremony would be forever celebrated as a historical momentous event. The king has appointed the first female estuary into the fold. Let's go, Naamah. They are scarcely halfway through the procession, but the palanquin is already covered in lilies of the valley, thrown by the adoring crowds. She remembers placing these flowers on the graves of the fallen, but now they have become her symbol, and she is determined to honor it. Naamah pushes aside her veil and waves to the crowds. They feel as empty ache in her heart, for she knows Miriam would not be amongst them. By swearing fealty to the king and becoming an estuary, Naamah has cemented her identity as a traitor in her sister's eyes. No, Miriam wished for a free world. Naamah simply wished for a better one. She wonders if they would ever speak to each other again. Yeah, that's like a good argument to have. At home, under the canopy of the Kerguelian forest, Estuary Naamah pores over weekly cultivations, reports sent to her by stingent study scholars. She can feel the land and trusts it, but the scholars do not leave do not leave anything up to intuition. Every foot of land is tirelessly graded and monitored by Estuary Enoch to ensure the forest flourish. Yet beneath the pages of measurements and predictions, she finds markings that are out of place. A small smiley face encircled by hearts. Intuition tells her this bit of silliness is meant for her eyes alone, and a smile graces her lips. Oh, Enoch loves her, man. The baby kicks, and she reflectively puts her hand on her stomach. Okay, they are the two together. She glances around nervously, but thankfully she's alone. Extending the bloodline is an obligatory every estuary has to their king obligation. Many children, many souls. But of all those children, only the father had been an estuary. Her child, however, would be the product of 2 estuaries, and she knows that the consequences would be if it was discovered. Is it I? Am I the child? Please take care of her. Naamah reads the note one last time before sealing it inside the envelope and placing it by her baby. The envelope is plain, only a simple drawing of a heart with 2M written inside to adorn it. The only thing. It isn't much, but it is all she could muster. She kisses her child one last time, then places the crib of knotted braces down in front of the farmhouse door. From a distant, Naamah watches as the door opens and her sister Miriam answers the cries of a newly baby. Man, imagine, like, you are full on into a fight with your sister, and then, like, you have completely different opinions on how the war should go, and then your sister's like, here, take my baby, bye-bye. Anyway, off to the next boss. And time for the next boss fight. So, let's get to it. Now this, once again, should be pretty easy-ish. Nothing that much changes. There are only a couple of things that you have to pay attention to. First of all, this thing here. No, actually, no, there isn't anything there. Oh, that was a bad play on my part. Lost life for no reason. Just artillery shot them from afar. Here there are more around you, but that doesn't really change anything. You just dash through them. Literally nothing changes. That was a mistake. Here is one of those important parts. By the way, I changed my talents into the shield. Here he does like a million shadow waves instead of just doing one. That's a big change. And this is also a big change here. Well, which I did interrupt, so we might never see it. But the change there was that he's gonna pull down 3 lasers instead of 1. That was a bad mistake. This is also different. He launches a couple of, you know, things that you have to actually block. Yeah, things are not going that well once again. Sifd says it's an easy fight. Not actually an easy fight though. In general, this guy is pretty hardish, but nope, we got him. As long as you have ranged attacks that do like 1,000,000 damage, you should be good with all of these fights. And that's also what I'm showcasing, right? The fact that this is the build that destroys boss fights. So if you have any problem with any boss fight, stay afar, chuck bombs. It's gonna start jumping now. This thing has a lot of differences. He's dropping these little pellets whenever he jumps, which is like really bad. And he's doing bombs. Nice, now he's gonna do jumping again. These pellets on the ground, you have to like air dash, air strike them. But the problem is that you don't know exactly where they are depending on how you play this. And like if you jump above him or below him, like if you jump below him, you will get hit easier. If you jump above him, like you can do this, for example. But then you cannot really attack him with the gauntlets is a problem. Here we're gonna do a wind wall and just end the fight. No, that was the wrong dash. It is what it is though. And we also did not end the fight, but that should be it pretty much. Yep, I got hit here at the end, I think. I did not. Watch out for these bombs. As you see, it didn't say yet Estuary defeated. Now it says Estuary defeated, so you can actually die from those bombs. After the written thing is like after you get Estuary defeated, you don't even lose life anymore. If I hit there the wall, you would have seen. I didn't use the shield that much, but I wasn't using the punch anyway, so might as well go for the warrior's shield here, this one. And yeah, let's read this guy's story. Enoch crumbles the despicable letter in his hand. He was being reprimanded for not spreading his seed. Absolutely preposterous. He saw the letter for the charade it was. A formalized attempt to perpetuate a thoroughly detestable and toxic tradition. And he, for one, refused to acknowledge its legitimacy. He understood that one of an Estuary primary duties was to keep the legacy growing, but the kingdom of Genesis had grown such that its population now rivaled that of the surface. This tradition now only serves to satisfy an Estuary's carnal appetites and their desire to subjugate. He had made clear his disdain for this practice numerous times already, but his remonstrations fell on deaf ears. Let the others carry on with their traditions. One true partner was more than enough for him. Enoch's makeshift observatory hangs precariously off the eastern ramparts of the Stygian study. He instructs his assistants, High Scholar Murmur, to open the windows while he carefully adjusts the lens of his telescope, taking in the breadth of the kingdom of Genesis. The lens slowly pans across the spirals of Citadel Agatha, beyond the burning bridges of Axis Mundi, and lands on the gatehouse leading to the Kerguelen Plateau. Within the gatehouse lies the giant void beast, and at its entrance stands Estuary Lamech, the evil guy. After the rebellion, Lamech had locked himself into his chambers and refuses visitors. It was many months before Enoch could coax him outside, and many more before he could convince the legendary spellsword to confront the void beast. But as he watches his brother stand before the giant doors, Enoch knows these efforts are for naught. For despite all the fury and bravado, Lamech is a soldier, and slaying the Void Beast is in direct violations of Irad's orders. As Lamech turns to leave, Enoch feels a wave of despair overtake him and he loses his strength. High Scholar Murmur tries to steady his master, but Enoch crumbles to the floor. The gravity of the situation is suffocating, and now he is left with no choice. In order to save Naamah and the villagers, Irad has to die. A piece of black root, by the way, like betrayals happening all over the place. A piece of black root finally falls on the floor, and Enoch stumps down next to it in exhaustion. His fingertips now black and gnarled, with a resonant pain as the poison seeps through his body. Despair settles over him as his mind goes over his recent failures. He failed to evacuate Naamah and the villagers before the gates were sealed. He failed to cure the dragon and stop the eternal winter. He failed to convince Lamech to stand against Irad's orders. All he succeeded in doing was poison himself and High Scholar Murmur. Good job, man. Good job. But it was all due to this malignant growth weaving its way through the kingdom. Despair gives way to anger as Enoch grabs his knife off the floor. He hacks away mercilessly at the black root, and with each strike his anger grows. His attacks become more and more vicious until all that is left is an impossible knotted core. He stabs at it until the tips of his blade breaks. With his anger rebundled, Enoch grabs at the knot with his gnarled hand, wishing to tear it out in frustration. But as his fingers make contact, he is shocked as they make no purchase. What? Purchase? What? Purchase. They instead slide effortlessly within. In an instant, he feels his whole body drift apart and a white light explodes in his head. Enoch finds himself floating in space, free from the confines of his body. He does not know how he knows this, but he is now part of the black root and can sense all it consents. The roots stretch on for millions of miles across countless other worlds and planes of existence. He realizes the knot he struck was only a single point in the network of roots that exist in his world. Gone is the study, as new planes of existence open up within his mind. In one world, it seems that the dead roam free across the land, and flying metal cubes swarm the sky. In another, a battle rages on at the floor of a massive armored tortoise as explosive weaponry fires out from its metallic shell. Okay, Enoch tries to reach out with his mind and grasp any artifacts he can find, if only to convince himself it is real. He reaches for a strangely shaped drill here, a black metal hammer there. Everything he touches vanishes from sight. Somehow he knows they are all being pulled into his world, like a faded memory forced back into clarity through sheer recollection. And despite the sensory overload, he can still sense the black roots pulling at him. It is a pull that absorbs the souls of the dead and dying, and brings them back to a glowing white tree at the center of it all. Countless different worlds, each within their own Stygian manifestation, feeding their own tree. Some trees are saplings, while others are so large that their branches wrap around the world. Yet despite each tree being different from the next, Enoch knows they are one and the same. He wants to stay and learn more, to experience more, but he can feel the tree rejecting his buddy. His buddy. As Enoch awakens, he's horrified to find the black root envelop most of his body. He knows he cannot save himself, but he needs time to recreate the poison, for it is the only thing powerful enough to stop Irad, or us, or the hero, you know. But he can feel the strength draining from his body, and his limbs harden like wood. He needs to find a surrogate to transfer his consciousness into before the roots overtake him. The life of Mimic Chest is proving more trying than anticipated. Transferring his soul into this new vessel bought him precious time, but without proper limbs, he is forced to use his former body as a puppet to perform the actual work needed. He also realizes it would be impossible for him to infect Irad with the poison once he has concocted it. That duty would fall to someone else. That's us. There is no time to find a trustworthy candidate. He can feel the black root pulling at his mind. Soon he will be gone, and the rest would be left up to fate. Enoch scuttles into his makeshift observatory with his wooden puppet in tow. Behind him, the bridge that once connected his chambers to the study ramparts is now gone, displaced into another plane of existence. It is the place precautious necessarily to safeguard the poison. He hopes the clues he left behind would be enough to find a worthy successor. Enoch tries peering through his telescope one last time, but the ash clouds have become so dense that Naamah's domain can no longer be seen. With a heavy heart, he summons his wooden body to his work desk and wills it to put pen to paper. Come to read my memories, have you? Don't be shy, I knew this day would come. And that's it pretty much for the Enoch storyline. So, yeah, that story, the specific one that he says, you know, don't lie, yeah, come to read my memories, etc., is somewhere else found. So that's pretty much a continuation of there. So, yeah, that's it pretty much here. Now, from here on out, I am going into harder territories, like the Sky Tower and the Ground Tower, whatever it's called, you know, the Pichon Dry Lake. That means there is a good chance I'm gonna lose the run somewhere in between, and then when I come back to the boss fight, it's like a different character, but I will still keep, you know, this build, this class. Anyway, off to the next one. And we have arrived at the Irad fight. Now, I want to point out, by the way, the run's still live, so we have 4.4k live. So the Irad fight is the only fight at which this build is not that good at, okay? Just pointing that right out, but it will also be really good here too. Like in the beginning, it might not be that good, but a bit later it will. So here in the very beginning, by the way, this is the most awesome fight, in my opinion. This is the most awesome Prime boss fight. In comparison to the rest, this is like insanely awesome. We're gonna just start smacking. Here in the beginning, when he does the cycles, we're just gonna block it and not even move. He does an explosion, pretty simple. Just avoid, and come on, get rid of him. And we got rid of phase 1, so this is the hardest phase for us. Off to phase 2. Fish. And here we go into the awesome part of this fight. I love it, man. I love Irad so much. Irad Sin, the betrayer of kings. So Irad, I guess, is borderline evil. Everybody's evil. I mean, half the opponents are evil, and the other half are good, I think. Here you fight like a little bit of a you know, challenge room like a challenge room. You have to just kill them. Pretty easy in general. Just stay away from everything. Just throw a bunch of things. Irad isn't even doing his harder patterns. Here, like the explosion that covers a bit too much ground. Fighting elites, and he's also not doing shadow waves. Okay, from here on out we will have a higher DPS because you know we do explosions, so we will hit more eyes. Irad Sin continues. The banishment of Naamah. First one was the betrayer of king. Now he banished the Naamah too. Okay, this is not gonna be that easy though. We will do a high DPS, don't get me wrong, but still, too many things are happening at the same time to be consistent here. But still, I did it. I got this fight done. Half-life done. Now he's gonna heal again. Now what is this Sin? What did you do now? What did you do now? Huh? The broken Irad Sin. So at this point he is like completely crazy. We're just gonna throw bombs at him until he dies. Now he also attacks us. Once again, this weapon is really good against Irad. It's not good in the beginning, but like literally after the first phase, it's very good. And look at this, we go backwards into his... this is so insane, like now we go backwards into the whole fight. Obviously, we're very powerful because like I shoot one attack and it hit him twice or 3 times back to back, so that's why this fight was pretty easy. And also, Irad is in general easy as long as you stay away from him, because all the attacks stem from him. It's not like he makes anything appear behind you. So as long as you're far away from him, you can see all the attacks coming, and also you see like the pattern spread, right? Because if you're next to this, you have a smaller room of wiggle, right? If you're very far away, the wave is gonna spread, you know, the flames are gonna spread, and you will have more room to dodge it. So in general, Irad, very easy. Let's continue over here. Let's go read Irad's story now. Atop a glass knoll, Estuary Irad peers down upon his army encampment below. In the clear moonlight, the massive silhouette of Dragon Ladon towers over the makeshift tents. Hundreds of thick iron chains anchored it to the ground and scrape against its scales as it sleeps. Okay, reverberations from each of its breaths can be felt throughout the camp. The beast's capture was the final task before he could descend down into the Stygian with his brothers and sisters. Soon, they would begin fortering the Tree of Life, a plan decades in the making, but for Irad, today's victory was in name alone. 20,000 Dragon Lancers flew under his banner today, less than half returned. Ladon proved to be a far greater adversary than anticipated, and this cost in life was devastating. Yep, you YOLO a dragon, you lose from a dragon. And the wanting firelight of his chambers, Estuary Irad reached into a hidden recess in his oak wood desk and withdraws 2 small chests. The chests, each no longer than a perfume box, are both ornately engraved with the white tree and golden sun, identical in every metric, even down to their seeming imperfections. Irad pulls up a chair and gestures to his valet, Messenger Jabal, to sit down. Jabal. These chests are the Black Seed twins, an experiment by the old scholars. They are built from the same material that crafted Hestia's reliquary. Irad opens the boxes, revealing identical red velvet interiors. He takes a pen off his table and carefully places it into one of the boxes. When the night is young hits the zenith, Irad pauses to the sound of bells rhythmically chiming in the distance. What is placed in one box is revealed in the other. As he withdraws the pen from the other box, a look of astonishment crosses Jabal's face. With these devices, I can maintain communications with our king. Irad hands one of the black seed boxes to Jabal, instead of just giving it to the king, by the way. Keep the box safe and keep it secret, instead of giving it to the king, by the way. Though we are at peace now, war will come again. But if the king knows I can be reached, that eventually will be vastly expedited. Our people deserve a reprieve. Only when war becomes inevitable shall you give this to the king. Until then, I will be waiting for no reason whatsoever. Jabal nods as he cradles the box to his chest as if a newborn baby. For 500 years, the black seed boxes remain empty. For 500 years, they were at peace. In that time, Irad had turned the barren wilderness of the Stygian into a thriving kingdom worthy of the highest praise. But this tranquility was interrupted the night he received his first message from the box. Okay, Irad got a message. Soon the Black Seed box surged with plans, schematics, and requests for his expertise. And for years, Irad maintained a secret military correspondence. He provided tactics and strategies remotely, satisfied with the knowledge that each victory on the surface would expand his already illustrious record. Yeah, bro, they're not taking away your record, no. As Irad pores over the last war plans, a smudged marking in the corner of the document catches his eye, a signature hastily scrabbled out, but still illegible, reading Estuary Jabal, the Supreme Strategist. Yep, that's what happens. Irad could feel dark rage filling his body. Estuary Jabal, the so-called Supreme Strategist, had betrayed him. One missed signature, one unscribbled lie was all it took for Jabal's treachery to be revealed. The Black Seed box had never reached his king's hand. Instead, his messenger had been stealing his notes and taking credit for his victories. Yeah, that's on you. When Irad confronted Jabal, he expected to be served hastily built lies and supplications. But instead, Jabal insolently presented Irad with an ultimatum. In war, there is only victory and death. Those are your words, Irad. The next great conflict is upon us. You will continue to serve your king from the shadows, or you can choose to abandon his men and let them burn in the fires of battle, knowing you could have prevented it. This is no bluff. They will be the ones to suffer should you choose to betray your king. The colors drains from his face, for he knows his fate has been sealed. There is no future for him. Even if he leads the surface armies to victory, the king would never know. With his reputation stolen and the tree yet ungrown, the king would have him executed for his failures and likely replaced by this treacherous opportunist. From atop his spire, Irad looks down upon the prosperous kingdom he has built. This is more than just a land of peace and stability. It has an army of 200,000 men, strong and growing. Jabal wanted to take everything from him and push him to ruin, but Irad would not be subjugated. He would destroy anyone who tried. Oh, I hope Irad does a good plan or something. Let the world above burn in the fires of war. Irad crushes the Black Seed box into splinters. A new one will be ready to take its place. Exactly, man. If they need your strategies to win, then just use your strategies to beat them. Like, so simple. Estuary Irad smiles as he pores over the reports once more. Over the past decade, the population for the Kingdom of Genesis had exploded, and the size of his army had more than tripled. Citadel Agatha, whatever, which was once a well-fortified city, was now a towering fortress, a monument to his will. Irad was almost ready for war. His prior correspondence with the surface had provided him with invaluable information about the king's army. its production, capabilities, spread, growth, even its petty rivalries between pretty much everybody. Not only was he strategically prepared to mount an assault, yep, good job, but he was confident the king's army would slowly fall apart without his expertise. Yeah, that might be wrong though. Estuary Irad frowned over another report. He had taken an aggressive stance on conscription, and the morale of the populace was suffering, but he knew it would pay off soon. Short-term discontent was a worthwhile trade for certain victory. Just a few more years and the true battle would begin. And now he's gonna lose. Flames of chaos flicker in Irad's eyes as he views the destruction from his tower. Yep, 5 years later. As the rebels continue their assault on Citadel Argatha, he finds it difficult to follow their movements. Ever since the rebellion erupted, his sleep had been stolen by his voices pounding within his skull. Yeah, that's why he was reading whatever. He was going to noose the psychology or something. My kingdom is burning, my army is dying, I just need more time. How did I fall apart? That was not a good rhyme. At the very start of their siege, the rebels had gained the advantage by sealing the entrance of the tower, trapping Irad and his men inside. Yep, get countered, bro. These were not the tactics of simple farmers. The attack was well planned and expertly executed. I caused this increased recruitment over the years, minimal supervision, too little oversight, not enough loyalty built among the soldiers. Once the path was cleared, Estuary Irad directed his dragon lancers to strike at key rebel camps with surgical precision. But with every rebel slain, 2 more appeared. Their numbers seemed endless. I was too greedy, raised my population too high, too many people, too little food. My dreams have turned to a nightmare. Suddenly, Irad feels the ground shudder. In the distance, he hears a dull crack as the Axis Mundi bridge buckles. Irad feels hope drain from his body as entire pathways fall into the reservoir below. Blood and rage resound throughout the kingdom, but it's deafened by the voices in his mind. Deafened. Nothing can stop the king from taking your head now. In the rain-soaked rubble of Axis Mundi, Irad nervously paces its broken steps as his men carefully lower a massive gate. Soon the Kerguelen plateau will be cut off from the rest of the kingdom, stealing all those inside. Naamah was to blame for all the failures down here. The tree, the rebellion, everything. If Irad could convince his king of this, perhaps he could be spared. She is the estuary of the harvest, yet the tree won't grow. The people loved her, yet the rebels arose under her watchful eye. Why should I be punished for her negligence? But you are their leader, not her. He's like full-on psycho now. Throughout the conflict with the rebels, Estuary Naamah tended to the wounded on both sides. In her eyes, it was an act of mercy, but to Irad, and more importantly, the king, it was an act of treason. The timing is perfect. The void beasts arrive coincide with Naamah's actions. I can blame it all on her. You betrayed your people above. Now you betray your people below. Who will be left to shoulder your failures? Irad's migraine had become relentless. Every thought was now difficult. Every waking moment a terrible pain. He couldn't recall when he last slept, but no matter. For his turn in events may just be enough to exonerate him. No place for weakness in war, only victory and death. It is what I taught my soldiers, it is what you taught to Jabal. As Irad lays to rest, he knows the attempt is futile, and the voices in his head continue to scream. And that's it pretty much. Is there anything up here? I don't think there is anything up here. Imagine if there was something up here like a little Easter egg. Okay, there isn't anything here. So, yeah. That is pretty much it for Irad. I mean, he made huge mistakes, as always. Most of these guys have done huge mistakes because they're, I don't know, noobs or something. They have no idea what they're doing in their life. I don't know how they become all estuaries. Like, Irad is betraying, Jabal is betraying, like Lamech made bad decisions. So many bad decisions in general. Only the good people didn't do bad decisions, other than the fact that, you know, Enoch got ahead and poisoned himself, but whatever, man. Anyway, off to the next boss. By the way, once again, there is a good chance that this is not gonna be the similar run that I did, because as I said, the next area is the hardest one to go through. And here we are in the Jabal fight, the master strategist Jabal. Let's get to it. Let's see what this guy's gonna do. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope for the best, because this build is a god build. By the way, I picked up another relic for combos, so now I will stack up combos twice as fast. The Hekatonteris, the Hekatohenteris, whatever. Hekatoheris, Estuary Jabal. Well, in Greek it's Hekatoheris, so whoop. Let's avoid, and as you see, we are destroying him once again. Wow. I don't even know all the patterns, by the way. This is literally the second time I'm fighting this thing. So in general, the only thing I know is that he has 4 phases. And yeah, that's it pretty much. Like, he has 4 phases. And he also has this random mechanic where he just randomly slammer hammers and hits you if you're a bit unlucky. Let's continue going a bit around here. Maybe airstrikes. Okay, let's continue smacking him. No, he's doing shadow casting. That's not really something crazy to be afraid of. I'm gonna shield here randomly in case I get hit. Okay, I did not get hit. He's gonna summon again. Not really that hard. 2 candle. Just continue smacking on him. Never just wait for him to hit you. There is no reason to just stay around. Random attacks are still arriving from different areas. Here, obviously, we get hit because unlucky. Here's gonna do like a lightning strike in the air. Who cares? Just jump and just smack him. Just stay away from him. That's pretty much it. The stage is insane. The stage is huge first of all. And look at this. We're on the dragon. How awesome is the fact that we're on the dragon? How awesome is the fact that we're on the dragon? And this fight, it gets pretty chaotic because like random summons. The random summons is what makes this fight chaotic because you have to get rid of them to be able to dodge, you know, his patterns. But in general, stay in the air. As long as you're in the air, most of the things should miss you. Because, you know, the blades that he shoots out are on the ground. And in general, most of the things are on the ground. Like the lightning strike he does. We're gonna definitely pet the dragon before we read the story because that's like a very important part of this game. So we're gonna take like a break for this. Come on, here we go. Here we go. Oh, look at this. Now imagine our hands up close. And now we'll read the lore. In a dimly lit cave, Estuary Tubal sits... Tubal? Wait a minute. Oh, the other one was Jabal. And this is Tubal, his brother, I guess. Classic D&D, literally the same name. In a dim little cave, Estuary Tubal sits at his workbench, tightening the last leather straps on a chemical gauntlet. Satisfied with his work, he rises and crosses the room. Against the far wall, stacked from floor to ceiling, lie identical urns of a purplish hue. Tubal picks one at random, then slowly removes the lid, revealing a white mist inside. He utters a low incantation and a black mist escapes from his lips. Okay. The mist flows into the urn, mixing with the vapors within. He quickly seals the urn, then brings to rock it in his arms, cradling it as if a newborn. The urn, purple hue, slowly fades away like a sick pallor. 2 sick pearls to that. First turning grey, then white, then finally becoming black as pitch. Content with this mixture, Tubal... What? Content with this mixture, Tubal turns back to his work table and carefully slides the urn into his gauntlet's fitted hollow. The urn suddenly cracks, and whispers of black smoke begin to seep out. Dark tendrils weave themselves into the gauntlet's internal clockwork. Mechanical fingers bend and flex as the tendrils make themselves at home in their new host. Tubal smiles to himself and closes his eyes. He takes a long, slow breath. When he opens his eyes, he sees his own massive body slumped on the bench in front of him. He can feel the coldness of the steel, since every scratch on its surface each gears whirs into motion as he stretches his metal fingers wide. Estuary Tubal turns the bottle of wine in his hand as he sits atop a parapets. Man, why are there so many weird words in this? I guess they try to make it a bit more poetic. Of Citadel Argatha, then decides against it. The celebration would have to wait. Tonight, he needs all his faculties unburdened. He watches the sun tower slowly fade to black as the artificial sun settles into its night cycle. Closing his eyes, Tubal slows his breathing and his body relaxes. Below him, the surface of the reservoir begins to bubble as hundreds of gauntleted automations slowly emerge from the waters. They rise up and soar past the citadel's spires, past the darkened sun towers and the glowing field of floating jellyfish, and up through the massive tunnels that leads through the ceiling of their subterranean kingdom. The machines emerge into the surface and move silently across the true night sky for hours before coming upon a small encampment. From the shadows, he watches as Estuary Jabal raises his glass and cheers his fellow men on the succeed of another hunt. Success. They are far too drunk and tired to notice the stars disappear as an army of hovering automatons blanket the sky above. Well, this guy is also evil. In an instant, the night lights up with the blinding gleam of 100 floating blades unsheathed in concert. Is he betraying them? Tubal watches on in amusement as Estuary Enoch rushes through the garden gates. Every morning Enoch would spend hours around the Tree of Life, excitedly jotting down notes in charting every possible measurement. In a single year, the tree had grown more than it had in past 1,000. This excitement was more than justified, but Enoch's favors would amount to nothing. For Tubal alone knew the one thing that mattered: an estuary had died. He knew that he had to do to become king. He knew what he had to do to become king. Okay, man, okay. Tubal here going full on and sending it. This was the year. Tubal carefully checks his ledgers once more to make sure the numbers would not raise suspicion. He had successfully armed the rebels via acceptable manufacturing losses and had been feeding them intel on the kingdom's weaknesses for the better part of a decade. A revolt was imminent. All he had to do was keep the favors in his favor. Okay, Tubal closes his eyes as he mind travels over to his legion of flying automatons in the Nibiru deep vents. He examines the early warning system that estuary Mehujael created to protect his men in the events of a flood. Tubal works quickly, ordering a group of his automatons to silently cut the ropes to the warning bells, while the rest of his mechanical minions drill through the lake bed above. Within minutes, a torrent of water comes crashing down to the tunnels, and cries of confusion and panic rise. He's super evil. A smile spreads across Tubal's face as the screams are drowned out by the sound of rushing water. Man, he's super evil, man. Tubal, what are you doing? From 100 different viewpoints, Tubal watches the fighting unfold as his flying automatons navigate the chaos of the kingdom. He revels in the screams of rebels and soldiers clashing in the citadel, while his body lies peacefully in a chamber deep within the Pishon Dry Lake mines. No matter how explosive the fighting becomes, he knows he is safe, for he had taken precautions and sealed off the entrance to the mines before the fighting started. Soon, once the fighting dies down, all that will be left is to emerge with his army of automatons and slay the remaining estuaries. He feels a sharp piercing pain in his chest, and it's suddenly jolted back into his body. He tries to open his eyes, but he cannot see anything. He struggles to move, but is completely restrained. He realizes he is tied up and being dragged, gagged and blindfolded through the tunnels of his domain. Well, backstab the backstabber, his blindfold is removed to reveal 6 figures standing above him, dripping from the poisonous waters of the Stygian. One of them is holding a dull metallic object. Tubal squints and realizes it was one of the warning bells he had cut off. These must be Mehujael's men, but how could they be? They must have swum through the flooded Nibiru deep to reach him. Yep, Mehujael, man, the hero. No one escapes his place, not even an estuary. The bell is rung and the figures slunk away from view. The chime of the bell echoes throughout the massive chamber, and Tubal feels the ground tremble. He tries to scream out, but the gag chokes him. As the dragon rises and opens its jaw, Tubal shuts his eyes and tries to will himself back to his automatons, but all that meets him is darkness. Yep, you wanted to betray them all. At the end of the day, you got destroyed. They got you good, man. Anyway, yeah, Tubal, really evil in general. Oh, a lot of the things that happened are his fault. Well, that's not good to hear, but yeah, let's go off to the next fight. But yeah, let's just go up to the next fight. And into the final fight of the game we go, which is the traitor and also the, what is it called? The Cain or whatever. Let's go. By the way, I will read the story later, although the story is, you know, shown before. But that means that this guy is now gonna start spamming us. We're gonna skip this completely and we're gonna read it retroactively over at the story. So let's fight this guy. Let's hope we win, by the way, because otherwise the run is pretty much dead. The redeemed Jonah, not the traitor anymore. Doesn't matter though. We're gonna dash through that. We're gonna dash through this, and then we're gonna also dash through that, and we're gonna continue smacking him. Nope, don't come close to us. He's gonna do this is just jump as high as possible, and most of these are gonna literally get countered. Like, no matter what he does, just jump. Like, you shoot him and jump. Even his arrows, if you are very high in the air, it won't affect you, honestly speaking. And phase 1 is down. Now he gets an item. He got Vanguard's Legion, whatever. Yeah, that's like shadow figures here and there. Let's avoid everything pretty much. Shadow figures here and there, it doesn't really matter. What is he doing? Pizza? Okay, that's not good for us, but doesn't matter because obviously I have completely countered the pizza with the airstrikes. That was why airstrikes is important. And phase 2 also done. just stay away. You know, just stay away. Now he got, when he jumps, he will have some explosive on the ground. We're gonna counter the bow, and we're gonna continue smacking him. Katana has to be dashed through. There is no other way to get through that. Let's maintain our 3D combos, please. And now he got, once in a while, he's gonna be shielding, but that won't really matter. Because, yeah, we're gonna just destroy him in a moment. We might lose life here, but it's not the end of the world. Just block everything, just throw your bombs, and at the end of the day, he's like toast. He's gonna die. Whoop, whoop. We lost the perfect because, you know, I didn't attack him often enough, but that doesn't matter. This is over now. Very easy fight in general with this specific build once again. Like, these weapons are boss slayer weapons. Just stay away, destroy them. Stay away, destroy them. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay, we got the fruit of life. And now we're gonna rush over to the story. Traitor defeated. He's not a traitor. He has been redeemed, as the game has said. So please allow me to pick up my money and go to the story. Hello? Game? Hello? Okay, thank you very much. He tells us something, and then we're gonna go over here. We're gonna activate all the story pieces so that we can read them. Yeah, we fast track because I've played this game before. Just making sure that you want to fast track. The change is permanent, cannot be undone. Yeah, I don't care, man. Let's go. And now we're gonna read pretty much all the interactions with this guy. Welcome to the Garden of Eden, Traveler, our little slice of purgatory. I've been following you closely on your journey. You are not the only one who can read memories with the powers of Aesop's tome, and I've been reading yours. After every hard-won battle against an estuary, you left behind a fragment of your past, but every memory dropped was a different life. I now realize you are the bearer of Estuaries reliquary, the fabled heirloom that transcends life and death itself. Those bound to it inherit the soul of the wisdom of every previous vessel. And in your memories, I saw the very first soul to ever be bound to it, that of the king's twin brother, Abel. Now, I know why the king sent you to retrieve the fruits. You are the last of his legacy, and the only one he trusts. The fruit is yours for the taking if you can defeat me, but know that I have already suffused it with the black root poison. The poison won't kill the king, but it will weaken him greatly. The king must be stopped. Even now, he can hear the war drums above, and it is clear his invasion will not end until he has claimed the entire world. His very existence is perverse and unnatural. He retains his vitality by stealing the souls of the people and has interrupted the growth of the tree of life itself, all to feed his anger. He is not like you, Abel. You save the lives of others, while he profits from their deaths. So I ask you, Abel, what will you do? Will you give the poison fruit to the king or warn him with the truth? You are forced to give him it. Keep the answer to yourself, words carry lies. I will extract your memories in combat and determine the truth. For king and country, let this battle show me who you truly are. That's after the first fight. Before the first fight, this is now before the second fight. We've been here before, haven't we, Traveler? This encounter, this conversation, it's also familiar. The longer I am by this tree, the more the fog lifts, and I can remember my past self. Oh, we're gonna learn it too. Our story is being retold over and over. But it seems this tree remains constant everywhere at all times. And even though some forces changing the tapestry of this world, we are still fated to repeat our past mistakes. All of us, it seems, except you. Perhaps it is your connection with Estuaries reliquary that separates you from the threads that bind the rest of the us. It is only now, at the very end, I am bestowed the clarity that you have been all along, and because of that, I understand that you are the only one that can make a difference. Only you can make our future bright. I've battled before, we will battle again. Come, show me how the story ends. Okay, this is after the second fight, so this is the third fight. Hello again, Traveler, it is good to see you. Is it fitting to call you Traveler, I wonder? Abel may be the name given to you long ago, but that is not who you are anymore. And although you are immortal, you are not like your brother, the king. The king devours the souls of those who have passed as a means to extend his life force. He learns nothing and gives nothing in return. You, on the other hand, have willingly bound yourself to Estuaries reliquary and offered to share your knowledge and wisdom with all those who come after you. Now, that's like Hero Academia plot right here. You may have lost your own identity, but you are truly the voice of the people. If there is anyone to place my faith in, it would be you. But I cannot risk our futures in faith alone. Though you may have changed, Traveler, my duty has not. Let us play our roles and see what fate has in store. So that's you beat him third time, fourth time. We meet again, Traveler. I have a confession. Before I became a rebel soldier, I was general of the Citadel army and known as the Master of Swords. Okay, he's the Master of Swords. Even after secretly switching sides, I could not halt my duties to the Estuaries as it would raise questions. So I trained Citadel soldiers by day and rebel fighters by night. Training your students to kill each other is a curse I never wish upon anyone. The pressure broke me, Traveler. All I wanted was for the war to stop, but in the end, It doesn't even matter. I tried to do what I thought I was right. It was right, but instead I betrayed them all. Our entire kingdom burned in the ensuing war. So many souls lost, and I was to blame. All hope was lost, but then you arrived. Every time a new thread is saw and a new story starts over, you triumph. The king falls, the Stygian waters rise, and the people of this realm escape to the surface. And it ends with a promising future for the survivors, for Z. You may be a source of hope for the other traveler, but my sins are set in stone. I shall play my role for all eternity, if it guarantees them a brighter tomorrow. Let us not keep fate waiting any longer. Okay, that's after you beat him 4 times. Hello again, traveler. The thread has reset and the loop continues. If you're in your absence, I've taken the time to speak to Charon. He is not much of a conversationalist, but he is a good listener. Did you know that chthonic gods are considered benevolent beings? They appeared during grim times in human history to help us through. All of the gods you have met on your journey have aided you in some way, all except Charon. Xieroeh cleansed the traumas of our past, while Xieroeh, so that would be like the old man, and Elpis would be Elpida, that would be like hope, paves the path for a future. Even Xieroeh, sibling, renew the souls they consume. Xieroeh is not a Greek word. Yet Charon takes and gives nothing in return. He may simply be the black sheep in the family, but I believe there is more to it than that. For many, greed is the greater sin. Humans will steal, cheat, lie, and kill for wealth. Kings and pharaohs bury themselves with the riches as people starve in the streets. Yeah, that's all right. Charon takes that all away. He strips you from your greatest weakness before you embark on your divine journey. Yeah, that's right. Makes sense. Or perhaps these are the musings of an idealistic soldier who is ready to meet his end. Facing mortality makes philosophers of us all, friend. Come, my blade, have been waiting. And then after you beat him 5 times in a row, traveler, it's strange. Recently, I found myself reminiscing more upon my childhood. Estuaries Lamech was my father. Ooh, that may be surprising. Yes, it was. But he was the father... Too many, okay. It was a mandate by the king that all estuaries keep the lineage growing, although some followed in more than others. To Lamech, I was nothing, but being a child of an estuary changes your life, traveler. The common folk called us citadel-born. Bound by blood to the estuaries, we were never trusted and suffered much disdain. Growing up, we had nowhere to go other than, you know, literally the castle, and all of you were brothers. So most ended up as soldiers working for the estuaries, and every time another one of us joined the ranks, the bias would grow and the pattern continued. A truly vicious, self-fulfilling prophecy. I almost succumbed to the never-ending saga myself until I met Z. She believed in me and gave me a purpose. But I am not like Z. She fought for a better future. I only fought for her. Man, this is an hour long. My path has been set, traveler, but yours changes with every thread. Now let us continue this dance, and may your resolve never waver. And the last fight, that should be what he said to us right now. Traveler, thank you for all the talks we had. These conversations have helped me gain a clearer perspective on my life. Even though you completed your journey long ago, you continue to traverse new threads to uncover the tragic past of our soldiers' kingdom. Sordid kingdom. What? Sordid? What? Your steadfast endeavor to bring to light our history is truly meritable, and has inspired me to do the same. I've been taking the time to traverse the citadel and resolve some unanswered questions, no matter how painful they may be. One day I hope to fully understand everything that transpired and honor the sacrifices of the people. Yeah, Tubal happened in general, but another thread has reached its end, and we shall battle once more. Show me that you will always be the hero I believe you are. And then you destroy him, and is there like some final words here? Charon always, appetite, sacred obols, blah blah blah. Yeah, we have read this, nothing really important. There's also like a very obscure story piece over here at the very right. Like if you go here to the very right of this whole thing, there is, as I said, an obscure story piece over here, but I don't think like it really like changes or does anything. It's like just, oh, look, here. A broken vial made from the white wood sits on the shore. The continents were washed clean by the Stygian waters. I don't know what that means. I guess it's a reference to either the poison or something else. I don't know. It's most likely the poison. So yeah, the time has come for us to actually go ahead and beat the very final boss. Is there like a secret text that I don't want to miss like any text that can be here, so I'm not gonna pause. I'm just gonna walk. Just spam, by the way. Bells there in the background, broken pretty much. There isn't anything secret. Yeah, I'm just spamming the interaction button. Nope, no secret here. We're gonna go to the docks, and then from the docks we're gonna go to the boss, and then from the boss we're gonna go for a victory. I hope, at least, because there is a chance. I'm not gonna one-shot this, you know. I'm not like a god or anything. And then we go to the cast. Look at us. I really enjoy that there is a different animated little thing for every single character. Like, I really enjoy the fact that they animated every single different character and also every weapon, right? If you go back, you see that the punches are actually red. And all of these are the... I don't even know when I use all these. Most of these, yeah, punches, test runs and stuff. Let's go, let's go. Final boss time. Let's see how if we beat this. So there is a good chance we're not gonna beat it because this is extremely hard and I might come back with another character. If that happens, then I'm most likely just gonna cut the footage here and just come back with another character, you know, just the winning run. But we have a pretty well-built character here. Now this is in general like a crazy fight. The Immortal Cain Prime. Yeah, this is like an insanely crazy fight with what he does. We already begin with this pattern, which I'm literally gonna skip because you have to do a million things to dodge it. Now he's doing tracking, magic bullets, plus red... oh, this is really bad. Okay, we're good. It wasn't as bad as I thought. Here you should always try to stay in the corner. Like, do wall dashes, do whatever you can, but just never fall down. Because the moment you fall down, you will start having problems. He does the blades. These are more than the normal version, as you see. And these are also more than the normal version. In general, we continue DPSing him. Oh, that was a mistake on my part. Yep, and as you saw, he also popped a bomb there. Really a million things are happening at the same time. Oof. Yep, here we get hit. Let's dodge through that. Let's continue with the DPS just to skip to phase 3. Here he does some shadow dashes, which in general are like just a huge area, but it isn't really that crazy. Here once again, just go to the corner and just dash into the corner. Don't even care about this whole mechanic. And here now he's gonna do double things. Like as you saw, he did the light version, which is explosions, and also the shadow version. And now he's gonna do like the shadow version, which is this, but he's also gonna add the light version, which is the tracking bullets, which is insane in my mind. We're gonna blast them through him here. Now he does the inside attack and then also the outside attack. So insane, so insane. I really love it. I'm gonna leave him on low life just to showcase all his moves. Once again, he's gonna do the bottom half and the top half. Okay, I think he's okay here. Okay, we can leave him at this point, and now we can just showcase his moves. You know, once again, tracking bullets. He does combination of a bunch of things. Let's not stay in the corner now. For example, he's gonna do first this, and then the other half, which I blocked with the shield of the warrior, because otherwise he would have died. Once again, still trying to showcase something. Look at this, look at this. Did you see this? Look at this thing, this is insane. And then he's also gonna do the second half, which is, what is the second half? Yeah, the bombs, and then also this thing. The second, oh, and now we can see the different version. So first he spell casts, you know, does the normal version, and then he also shadow casts right away. What else can we see here? What else can we see? Oh, the different version, which is triple spikes, but also meteors from the air. Now we can see this one too. The full version, you know, with shadows, and also you have to dodge it, and then also more shadows. Like, this is crazy. Not easily avoidable, but still, it's pretty crazy. We have seen this. I'm gonna wait like for 3 more patterns, and if he doesn't show us anything new, then he's a goner. And if I go down to 1000 life and or less, he's also a goner. Yeah, we had this before. Now we have to run out. Very easy, very simple. That is actually an easy pattern. Try something new. Start something new. Yeah, we had this already. So it's gonna be a shadow cast, then you have to go up, and then you have to go through the other shadow cast like that. That's borderline impossible. It's not impossible, but it's very hard. Now we got the opposite version, and at this point I'm gonna just end it. I don't think there is anything else to show here. Yeah, let's just end it. Boom, done. Easy win. And I was like jumping like a hero the moment it ended. Brother, I will not go quietly. My brother was this engine, but the water shall rise. Bro, I have done this like 8 times now, maybe 10. You know, I was in Union +7 for quite a while. So yeah, the waters will rise. That's a very common occurrence. And yeah, at this point, I'm just gonna show you guys an Easter egg, because I'm pretty sure nobody exactly knows it. But yeah, I want to show you guys the Easter egg in case you don't know it. It's only pretty much possible with this character. So, oh, there is a secret story here. Traveler! There's not much time. The water's level's rising. If we don't do something quickly, we're going to under, blah, blah, blah. We don't care. Let's read Cain's memory, because I forgot completely that that also is a thing, you know. Cain trembles through a boundless space as images of strange lands and foreign cultures assault his mind's eye. From all directions, sensations, voices, and thoughts demand his attention. He feels his consciousness being pulled into an in-between space, until all that stands before him is a giant glowing white tree. Its network of branches seems to divide infinitely and touches every soul in existence. Crazy how that works. As he gazes downward, he sees its root from a black mirror of the tree itself, except its branches form a network 1,000 times larger, snaking deep into the inky darkness. The roots burrow through the corpse of the dead, absorbing all knowledge, sin, virtue collected over a lifetime. He strains to take in the immensity of it all, but feels the substance of his body returning. What? He blinks. Suddenly, he's standing in an ocean of white grass. In front of him stands the white tree, but all around him are warring soldiers bloodied from combat. They cease their assault and kneel in silent submission to him. He looks to his left hand and sees the fruit of life. A single bite taken from its flesh, the fruit withers to ash before his eyes, leaving only a seed in his palm. In his right hand, he holds the body of his brother, cold and lifeless. That's us. That's us, by the way. Cain stands within a sacred hall, its walls emblazoned with the image of a white tree with black roots, the chosen symbol of his fledgling kingdom. In front of him lies Hestia Reliquary, a massive tome, gilded on every side with the symbols of his kingdom. Atop the reliquary, a bell rings. An initiate step forwards. What? Kneeling in front of the reliquary, as soon priest sprinkles holy water atop his head, thus beginning the ritual. Where did these pop up? The initiate pulls out a small dagger and bravely wraps his other hand around its blade. He winces but holds his tongue as he lets his blood fall upon the orange parchment. Let your blood symbolize the sacrifice you make for the good of the kingdom. The priest holds a hand over the boy. You are the first and the only of your order, but now, no, you will not be the last. May your wisdom and character guide all who come after. After giving his benediction, the priest removes the parchment, returning it to the safety of the reliquary, while Cain bandages his new steward's wounded hand. He clasps the boy's hand between his own, then suddenly gives him a great hug. Startled at first, the boy freezes, and then awkwardly returns the gesture. Arise, my brother, and know you are forever reborn. As the poison seeps deeper into his body, Cain feels black roots burst out of him and dig into the dirt and stones beneath. He feels the pulls of 1,000 invisible strands as the Stygian desperately reaches out to take back what was stolen from it. And as Cain feels his body turning to stone, he does not resist. He can feel himself slowly becoming a part of the castle's wall and knows this is not the end. He feels the souls of all who perished within its walls beckon him. As his vision turns to stone and his mind darkens, Cain looks upon more towardly his brother Abel before uttering his final curse. Death holds no dominion over me. And that's it pretty much. There isn't anything else to show here. We're gonna also showcase like the little Easter egg that exists. By the way, the timer at the bottom right doesn't really mean anything, just so you guys know. Yeah, just so you guys know, it doesn't mean anything. It literally doesn't mean anything. And now Easter egg time. Yeah, we're here, blah blah blah. Let's go in. And what do you think? Is this guy a true hero, or should I just kill him? You know, I'm really thinking about just blasting the wall here. Should I do the Easter egg? Man, the Easter egg is ending the run, and then this guy's not gonna be a hero. And you know what? Change of plans. I'm not gonna do the Easter egg. We're just gonna drop to the very bottom in case you have never seen the ending here. I'm also gonna show you the ending, you know, in case you want to see it. I just now realized that indeed these are the banners of the kingdom, you know. By the way, the Easter egg would be that I just YOLO myself off. Like, you can go over here and just... Oh, look how awesome this looks. Like, you can just go into a wall and just throw one of these punches and die. And when that happens, what actually happens is that if you try to do a run again, you are just like forced into that corridor with the pizza girl. Like, it literally just sends you to that specific spot. You are forced to be a hero. Like, literally you choose an heir and he just becomes a hero instantly without fighting anything, without doing like anything at all. I didn't showcase it because, as I said, this guy like did the whole run. It was a god run in my opinion. I'm sorry you were not able to see it, but this would be like a 2-hour video if that was the case. And yeah, it's already a bit too big for my liking. I was expecting this to be like a half-an-hour video, but all this lore reading definitely added a lot of it. Now yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys really did. Let's go do the outro here, which by the way, everybody is super duper in love, in case you have never like seen them, and so was the food. In general, like everybody says the same line plus something at the end too. For example, I'm going to Sifd with Nunat and Athos regarding every inn. You know, here the first is the same, but then the second half is like, I'm glad we met, friendio. Oh, I mean that honestly, never really get to, you know, with clients, etc. Plus being down here has helped me see what's important in life. Sorry if I think I'm leaking some oil, blah blah blah, it's a joke. These guys here, Totes said we'd travel the world together, came back. We're gonna follow Nunat and Athos in the capital first, and then Totes and I will go wherever the wind takes us, or with whoever willing to give 2 wooden logs a ride. Yep, and then once again over here, mortal, congratulations on your treasure, blah blah blah. This is a good thing, right? Lady Gwyn is still teaching me the nuances of morality. Lady Gwyn and I are traveling the world, mortal. I will show her the culture and fighting techniques of other lands, and she will make me understand them. What a perfect match. She is also full of hearts, so we're also done with this, pretty much. Blah blah blah, the first part, and then perhaps it was not our place to intervene as much as we did. With the outcome of interaction, we may never know the full conscience of what we've done. I hope the world is in a better place for you and your kin traveler. This is also very like with hearts and stuff. You did traveler, we helped restore the tapestry of Cain, defeated Cain, it was 90% us, 10% you, and then the second half, our shelves are always stocked, so if you're ever interested in continuing, feel free to speak to us. Now, this guy, I'm not finished with this guy, so he doesn't have hearts around him, because I didn't do all the scars, but the rest have. So, Ducky, you did it! I always believed in you, yep, and then Athos and I going off to the capital, and you have to join us, man! We're getting married, so I'm going back to home to gather my family together for the celebration and for the henna rite. What? Henna night, okay? Plus, I like to cook big meals, and if you don't come along, Athos will eat your potion and get fat. And then Athos, good job, kid, and you had it in you. Now that it's all over, I have a plan to do next. Me and Nunat are going back to the capital, and you are welcome to join us. With her in my corner, I'm hoping I can become a mastersmith. I'm not interested in the title anymore, but passing the test will give me a voice at the table. Yeah, that's fair. If you can smith, you can smith. Ancient rules can try keeping people down, kid, but there's no point in sticking with the past. Yep, I love these guys in general. You did, traveler, blah blah blah, the same thing. While you were fighting the Estuaries, I was bringing refugees from the kingdom back across the Singean with me. Thankfully, the folks in Castle Hamson were more willing to take the villages. Yeah, the same thing. In the end, it was just people helping people, you know. Glad that's what boiled out on. So she doesn't have really a new line. What is this? What is happening? What is happening? This is the first time I'm ever seeing this. Is this a secret boss? Guys, first time ever. What? Oh, the dragon. Okay, it's the dragon. It's the dragon. Oh, the dragon saved him. Wow, I had no idea this happens. No idea. First time I'm seeing this. Jonah! Jonah! Oh, he is with the blade and a sword. Wow. Ouch, my face. Oh. Jonah, Jonah, oh, look at this, you made it. I couldn't find you, and when I finally saw you down by the tree, I thought I had lost you forever. Oh, wait, stop, I'm covered in dragon coop. Oh, Jonah, I've missed you. I missed you too, Z. Ah, Z from pizza, man. Z from pizza. Ooh, somebody definitely predict that. I know we just got out, but there's so much to do. A lot of people are homeless now, and I don't think anyone wants to hang around Castle Hamson because it doesn't feel right. Our journey begun, my friend. I'm not sure where we'll go, but a lot of people are counting on us. Okay, and then what do you have to say, Jonah, man? There are still many sins I need to atone for, but before I could help others, I had to help myself. Thank you for making me see that. I was in a dark place, and I needed a hand to climb onto. I've lived 100 years, but I feel like my life's just started, and I don't think I'm the only one that feels this way. Everyone here deserves a new life, and I owe it to all of them to help rebuild it. Any second line, maybe? I also need to help repay London somehow. Not sure how just yet, but I should have a few centuries to think it through. Maybe a third line? Okay, not a third line. Do you have a third line? Thank you, friend. Really gave this. Hope without you. I couldn't have done it without you. If you're nowhere else to go, I hope you come join us. Okay, no secondary lines. Can I speak to the dragon? Oh, I can. Child, I have been changes in the threads. I have seen changes in the threads. The only lame Jonah requested my aim. The one lame Jonah, okay. My means of travel brought much protest from him, a tantrum fit for a baby. Perhaps I should have eaten him. I love you, man. The dragon's so awesome. Our journeys go in separate ways, child. May your actions continue to beneath the others. Benefit, by the way, is what he said. Good thing I didn't tank the run. And this is pretty much my run. So this is what the run looked like in reality. I'm gonna blast through this, but this is pretty much the whole run, which you didn't see. As you see, I'm skipping like a bunch of enemies. Normally, if you kill every single enemy in the whole area, you should have about 600 kills, and I have about 306. Look how awesome Irad looks, man. I love Irad. Irad is the most awesome one. Yeah, I love him. Let's go. Let's go. We did it. We actually won. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna leave this to run. I'm gonna speed this up. You can pause wherever you want to, you know, see some of my kills and stuff. I still don't know a couple of opponents, what they are. Like, I have no idea what a couple of opponents are in general. By the way, because a few elites, as you see, like this thing, I only have fought the true part, like only the prime part. That's because this system was not implemented back in the day. The enemies that I don't know which they are coming up right away. Give me a sec. I don't know what these are. I don't know what this is. I also don't know what this is. I guess the secret boss, and I also don't know what these two are. Like, I have no idea. And then we go to Jonah, and then we also go to Cain and Cain Prime. So I'm assuming that those enemies are some kind of secret boss that you find somewhere, because they are literally after Tubal, but before Jonah. So somewhere around between those parts, there is, I guess, something secret. I don't know. And here at the very end, I don't think there is anything else, but just to make sure that there is nothing like an Easter egg, you know, stick around, because there might be an Easter egg in a bit. I can't skip, by the way. Like, this is the one time where this thing is not possible to skip. Yep, that's literally the first time I cannot skip the credits, I think. Yeah, we get a new character, but once again, let's go with the exact same character, just because it doesn't really matter. Let's see. I'm gonna do that on my own time. Let's, you know what? Yeah, congratulations, the story has ended, but the adventure can continue. New adventure awaits. By the way, in general, when you do these things, just spam like damage, anything that has to do with damage. Or like runes, like just simple as that. Boom, 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 runes, utility, you know, then like defense, and that's it. Let's go. Now I'm 1003 level, very nice. I don't see anything new here, everybody's in love. And maybe a new line from you guys. Just know blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but that's pretty much the same. Okay, there was still to go, yep, also the same. And the dragon is over here. Can I like pet it? Or I guess no, I guess I cannot pet the dragon. Yep, okay, so that was a big lie. There is no Easter egg. So yep, I hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely did. Thanks for watching. Please drop a like, helps out immensely. If you like listen to anything that you wanted to hear, you know, if you're excited about the story and whatnot, just drop a like. Simplest thing you can do. If you want to subscribe, that's on you, but dropping a like is really helpful. So yeah, that's going to be it. Thanks for all the Patreon and the membership for Boris. And yeah, that's it. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it wasn't a drag that I was reading a bit weirdly, because, you know, I'm English. I'm not English, actually. And you know what? I'm gonna ask you something. Comment down below. Which story did you like the most? I should have asked that before people leave, because the moment I pop up the Patreons, people leave. So I want to listen. Which of the stories do you like the most? Which boss fight you like the most? Which estuary you like the most? Like anything. Like, if you have to choose one thing, you would say, I like this fight the most. I like this story of this estuary the most. I would like to know, you know, opinions on this. I believe the most awesome one is Enoch, because I really like the fact that Enoch is the only one that actually cares about the magic in the world, like the whole black roots and the system and what's happening in the background and all the weird stuff, while the rest were doing their stuff. I think like Lamech is extremely stupid. I think Irad is also stupid, but like, he made bad decisions. That's a different kind of stupid. Naamah is pretty much just a part of the story. She didn't really have that much control over what was actually happening. And then Jabal was pretty much one of the reasons why half the things happened, and also in general extremely bad and evil. The king, in my opinion, pretty decent man. He didn't really do anything wrong other than the fact, you know, trying to be immortal and also having an immortal brother. So it doesn't really showcase the king being that bad. I mean, he was bad, yes, but most of the bad things happened because of the estuaries. At least that's my opinion. Now, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. It is what it is. I would like to hear your opinions on the whole matter. And yeah, that's going to be it. Once again, thanks for watching, and see you guys around.